Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 44 of the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What's up, guys? I'm Clash, he's Dookie. We're your Salty Captains, and this is episode 44 of the Salty Dog Podcast. Welcome.
Ahoy there, mateys.
So, what's going on this week with you, Dookie?
Oh boy, golly gee, there's this real good tavern brawl where you can there's some eggs and you can paint the eggs and it hatches into something cute. And golly gee.
So what are the parameters of cute? I've always wondered, because none of the things that pop out seem to have anything to do with anything.
It's like, I mean, I kind of see where they're coming from, like imps. There's Tortolan Primalist, apparently is cute.
Oh my god, really? I never got that one. I've gotten to Shrieking Shroom, which I guess is kind of cute, especially when you pass the turn. He's like, wah!
Yeah.
And then what else have I gotten? I got the greedy sprite, the little thing that, like, the druid thing that gives you a mana crystal or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Super weird tavern brawl. It's pretty much just like hope that you get the die that's +2/+2. That's pretty much
right. Yeah, it's very RNG. That obviously turn 1 +2/+2 die is the best one. Mm-hmm. And then you know, if you happen to be like, all right, I'm just gonna like try this, and you do like a divine shield taunt on one egg, and then it hatches and it's like a 3/3, you're like, oh cool, good. Yeah. But yeah, it's very RNG, and I don't really feel super mad or glad when I win or lose. But
I'm surprised you made it past one victory.
Well, because I hate ladder right now, I did have 360 gold quests to do today. All of them were to either win as priest or play priest cards. So I just did the tavern brawl, and I actually completed them all at the exact same moment. And I was like, all right, cool. Quest log's empty. 180 gold. We're done here. Nice.
Yeah, it is kind of cool when you can just, like, get all your quests done in one fell swoop. And then, because actually sometimes, you know, like, a lot lately, I only have these small periods of time when I can play the game. Like, you know, maybe like an hour or two total in a day I can actually play. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to complete a quest, but I don't want to win 3 games with Druid. You know, like, I don't want to do these requirements. I just want to play like a deck that I'm actually enjoying. So I've actually started just knocking out like 2 or 3 at a time, just so I can go a couple days without worrying about it.
Yeah, that's something I do a lot. But the big danger with that is then I do forget about it for a few days. Or more than 3 days, right? And then I come back and I'm oh fuck, I probably have missed doing like 2 quests. So instead of being in that rhythm of like, I'm gonna do 1 a day and just have it be like a routine, then I just like forget that I play Hearthstone.
You have a show about Hearthstone, but sometimes you still forget that you play.
Hey man, it's not the best time right now.
It's not the worst time either. I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot. It's kind of a weird spot that we're in. But we have some good news this show, though. We really do, because of some announcements recently. So
this is almost as bad as when it was just Shaman.
I don't know. I don't feel like it's as bad as that.
Because it's just Paladin.
It's Paladin and Q block, and I actually see a fair amount of Taunt Druid. Which is weird because I see more Taunt Druids than I see Spiteful Druids, but it's just like hands down Spiteful Druid, it has the better win rate, so it's
absolutely.
It's kind of weird. I don't understand. People just like really like Taunt Druid, I think, which is weird to me.
People like me who are like, I pulled Hadronox and I didn't disenchant him, so
right.
I guess I'll try to use him.
I tried to do it, and I just find the deck really boring, and I really hate it when, like, it's pretty much a condition of the deck that you have to save a Naturalize for your Hadronox, and that just is so backwards to me.
Yeah,
that I just don't even like it. Because you can't leave Hadronox down because of how many things can stop it from like triggering its ability. So
yeah, it's Hadronox and Naturalize is like Blood Reaver Gul'dan, but it takes 2 cards to do.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah,
I kind of am okay with like the idea of playing Druid right now because I like using the new hero because she's really cute.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much the only reason that I do want to play Druid when I play Druid. I'm like, well, I guess I can use Lunara, so...
yeah. Like, that's a reason that I get, like, excited to play Priest sometimes, because I'm like, well, I get to use Tyrande, and she's a stone-cold babe, so...
I'm one of those people who just refuses. I have to use Anduin every time, especially now that the Shadow Reaper Anduin is a thing. Like, I hate using an alternate art hero and then switching into the original hero's Death Knight art.
I do too.
It just bothers me, but I do it with Mage because I'm like, I'm going to use Medivh, so... Yeah,
I need to get Medivh, honestly.
I mean, I'm glad I have him, but he's $10 whole, so...
Yeah. I have a very burning hatred for Jaina Proudmoore.
Right.
And, I mean, Khadgar's only for, like, iPhone or something.
You can only get him for installing the game on iOS, I think.
And Khadgar, I mean, lore-wise, Khadgar is discount Medivh, so...
Right.
Why don't you just go for the big dog?
Yeah, and Medivh is awesome. So I mean, I just love that he turns into his little shadow crows and stuff. He's basically like a shadow mage. So
there's like this small pool of humans in the lore, the WoW lore that I respect, and it's basically like Tyrion Fordring, Medivh. Yep, I think that's it.
That's a good question. Why do you hate Jaina so much? I would love to hear the explanation for that.
She's just an obnoxious alliance leader. Like,
she does seem like really uppity, like really bitchy.
She's so yeah. It's like she's like an angry sorority girl. I just don't want to talk to her. I would never I would never want to hang. I would like see her at like a club or something, and like I'd like go like say 3 words to her, and then she would say something, and I'd be like, all right, bye.
You mean you'd approach her because she's pretty hot?
Yeah.
I agree.
But anyway, so if you log in right now because it's totally Easter.
Noble Garden, yay!
They're giving you 1 golden Devilsaur egg and one golden egg
napper. So there you have it, folks.
Thanks for the dust, guys. Thanks, Blizzard.
Yeah, that's just kind of random. Like, I get it. They relate to eggs. I see it, but still, like, why? It's just so random.
I think Blizzard's like trying to half-ass like 4 things rather than whole-ass like 2 things.
Wait, what do you mean? Like with this whole Noble Garden event?
I don't know. Hearthstone just seems like it's not quite as like tight. It's not as. It doesn't feel like it's running as smoothly as it has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like things seem like Witchwood seemed sloppy, like because I don't know, maybe that's just because of like how the meta looks right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like how are the same decks that were on top before this set came out?
Mm-hmm.
How are they still on top?
Yeah, I guess it's like it's not really jiving with like a whole new year vibe. We already talked about that a lot. Like this feels like it should be the last expansion of the year. Like when it's releasing when things are getting spoopy, And then like I don't know, there was a couple of other things that just kind of I felt like made the launch not quite as exciting, and one of them was Monster Hunt not being available from the beginning. Like coming out 2 weeks later, like I can see them wanting to stagger that like new expansion drop feeling or whatever, but it just was weird to me. Like I can't even really place my finger on exactly why, but I was just like it doesn't feel like I got the full thing right, like at the front.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I even pre-ordered this one because, like, despite the fact that like I had basically no money, I was just like, you know what? This is the first set of the new year.
Right.
That means it's going to be around the longest. So I'm maximizing, you know, my card pool here.
And there was the boost in 20 extra packs was awesome.
And that was a big factor too.
And they have been giving away a lot of stuff recently, which is really cool. So
it is cool, and I'm hoping it's not an act of desperation because they like, I don't know, Hearthstone's not doing well or something. But I honestly, I have no idea. But yeah, like I did all that, and I opened all my packs, and I got some legendaries, and made some decks, and then I was like, okay, that was fun for like an evening. and then I clicked Monster Hunt, and it was like, not yet, bitch. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you mean. Like the hype kind of fell flat.
Yeah. I don't know if we're totally alone in that, but like I've been feeling it too. I am having like. I had a breakthrough. Like I've been having more fun recently because I kind of did just like do what we talked about last show and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna make my own deck. And like obviously like I took inspiration from what I know is good and like current decks and stuff, but I just kind of made my own like slightly different version of like a dragon themed control priest. And I've been tweaking it, and that's like one of my favorite things is just like play like 3 or 4 games and like really focus in on what I'm needing to counter and like what's not working in my deck, and then like take out like that card or two and like just know what I want to put in because I know like I've played those test games and I know what I need in there. Like that's kind of my favorite feeling in the game, and I've kind of got that back right now, so that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always work, I would say, and that's something I always tell myself I'm going to do is like build a deck, get out a piece of paper or a Google Doc,
right,
and just, you know, when something goes wrong or right, like take a note and be like, okay, so this is good, or this is something that we need to like try to counter. And that is fun, and that's what we did when we played Magic and everything, and
yeah, we
always did well with some non-meta Magic decks, and
yeah.
It just feels very oppressive, and like as a Paladin hipster, which is what I'm going to call myself right now.
I'm a priest hipster. You're a Paladin hipster.
The fact that Paladin is so mainstream right now is just crushing my soul.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're not even gold. Like, and then we're playing the same exact deck, and then they get the nuts and they kill me, and I'm like, you're not better than me, you just got better RNG.
They're like the people who only started watching Rick and Morty after the Szechuan sauce.
Right, exactly. They're the people that run around screaming Pickle Rick. So, you know, shit makes me angry.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I'm glad Priest is back to middle of the road.
That's where you want to be, because then if you're a good player, you can just make the deck you want to make, and you can do well with it and be proud of yourself.
Exactly.
But, yeah,
exactly. But anyway, so we've just been on a tangent here for a while at the start of the show. What are we actually doing this show? Well, like we said just a minute ago, there is some cool new news. I'm sure, you know, most of you have already heard of it. There has been an announcement that at the end of May, at the end of the Hearthstone Championship Tour Summer Playoffs, they will be nerfing some cards. There will be card balance changes. I guess that could mean like cards that are underpowered could get buffed, but we don't see that often. I'm thinking more so it'll just be a round of nerfs. And
I'm holding out for Silverback Patriarch buffs.
Yeah, definitely. We need.
That's what I'm holding out for. Yeah.
Too. What would he even like be? Become?
No, one of our card challenges was make an awful card playable.
Yeah,
and I did him, and he put bananas in your hand.
I was gonna say that I sort of remember a submission where there was bananas. Yeah.
So,
but
yeah.
So we're getting some nerfs definitely at the end of May, which is awesome because there are definitely some very oppressive decks and individually oppressive cards within those decks that need to be addressed. And they're actually, we're going to talk more about this when we actually get into the news, but they're actually not just looking at standard with this, they're also looking at wild, which I feel like wild has been extremely imbalanced for a while now because of one main card that I've bitched about over and over again. And they're finally addressing it with a little bit of help from Reddit. And
yes.
Also, even the new legendary Baku is already kind of getting looked at because of the rampantness of the Baku Paladins on ladder. So those are all very exciting. We're not going to do a lot of our normal segments today. Salty Card, we kind of mentioned how like this is the meta of Salty Card like not making sense, right? Because decks are not like linchpinning around a card or two like the old Rosakas decks and like, you know, old Highlander Reno decks and stuff. They're just like kind of like a problem as a whole. So
yeah,
it's more like what's your salty class, and it's pretty much Paladin.
As a joke before the show, I was saying my salty card is Silverhand Recruit, like, and that's not a card. So
yeah. And so we'll pretty much just be going through the announcements about the card balance changes and looking into some potential cards that they've highlighted in the past as problems, and they even released a list of cards that they think might be unfun cards. And I think that it's there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's all stuff that we've talked about. Which makes me feel smart for like identifying those problems and them actually like being like, yeah, okay, these are actually problems. And let's just take a look at that stuff. I think it's really interesting.
Should we quickly mention our plans for the show this month?
Well, I think we should save that for the end. Remember, I think we had talked about that. So we have a little announcement at the end of the show. We might do it like right before the card challenge or something, but stick around for that because we do have news about the show as well.
All right, news.
Let's do news.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so just jumping right into first there are three main cards that they brought up, like in particular, looking at nerfing them in this patch that's going to be coming out in May. And the thing that I was mentioning before with what's been destroying Wild for too long now is of course Naga Sea Witch. If you've queued up in Wild and ranked Wild in recent months at all, you'll be plagued by these decks. Like every class, almost every class runs them. You'll see Hunter, and it's the interaction between the Naga Sea Witch, which sets your cards at 5 mana, and the Giants, which then discount their base cost, which takes into account the 5 mana. So you look at Molten Giant, and if it's at 25 or 20 now, right? It's 20 mana.
Yeah, he's back to 20,
and Naga Sea Witch sets him down to 5, so if you've taken 5 damage, he's a 0-cost giant. And
you know what does not make a lick of freaking sense to me?
What?
Is Naga Sea Witch says your cards cost 5, right? That is what the text is. That is a static, state-based, like game-wide effect. It doesn't matter if a card has been discounted or overcosted. It doesn't matter if you've been rebuked or low-febbed. It doesn't matter if you had Thaurissan out, if if you've taken damage and the giant's cheaper now. It does not matter. None of that should matter.
I agree.
Because that card says your cards cost 5. End of discussion. Like, no matter what, they cannot be cheaper or more expensive than 5.
I agree, and I think that is that makes the most sense to change. They don't even really have to change the wording on the card because that's how it reads. That they should just change how the mechanic works in the game. But what they actually specifically said about it is that they're looking at the card, specifically potentially its mana costs. So that means to me like considering making this like an 8 mana card or something, to delay setting up that combo. So you can't play 4 giants on 8 or on turn 5. and or changing the entire overall design of the card. So this is kind of like, this makes me think of the Warsong Commander nerf, where Warsong Commander used to say all of your minions that have 2 or 3 or less attack have charge, and then they changed it to your charge minions have +1 attack. So they basically unprinted the card. Like, they made it so bad.
Yeah.
But this particular card, and like why Blizzard is focusing on it, has a very interesting story actually to it, and it's that somebody was so mad. A Reddit user by the name of Jamie FTW got so pissed about how bad Naga Sea Witch decks are ruining the wild meta that he paid for Reddit ad space. Just that literally said, I will pay for this ad until Naga Sea Witch is not fun. I will pay for this ad until it's nerfed.
Yeah.
And left it up on Reddit, and it got of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of views, and like something close to 10,000 upvotes in the first day. Something insane, and
amazing.
That's basically, at that point, that's something that you can no longer ignore.
Yeah.
And they directly actually talk about it, talk about the ad itself, and I just think that's great. You're mad enough about something, and he discovered a way to
get the message out there.
So what do you think about that tactic?
I think that is hilarious and amazing. Because I mean, I don't know, Blizzard's actually usually pretty good about listening to the many voices, and when there's a unanimous opinion like Naga Sea Witch is borked, they usually hear you, but sometimes they don't, and that's why Q Block was what it was for so long, and I guess it gets to a point where you're just it's probably 2 a.m. and you just lost to another Giants mage or lock or whatever, and you're pissed, and you want to enjoy this game that you used to enjoy, but you can't. And you're like, what the fuck could I even do? And I don't know. I think it's brilliant and hilarious, and I think it is such a meme-y way to get your message out there. It's fuck it, I'm buying an internet ad until you do what I want. So
yeah, and you know what? I mean, not too long after that, we have an official announcement about, hey, we're looking at Naga Sea Witch, so damage control's on the scene. Just, I thought that was a super interesting and funny little story. I really hope that a fix for this enters in at the end of May, along with anything else that they're changing for Standard, because I personally like playing Wild. A lot of my favorite cards in the game, they're not Standard cards anymore, and you have so much more options. Building a deck in Wild Hearthstone feels more like the days of when we used to build Magic decks, because the pool's so much bigger. And just like Magic cards, we wouldn't always stick to a type or Standard in Magic. We would just pull out our collections and be like, what kind of insanity can I make just out of all of these cards? And there's really something to be said about that. But I lost just every little bit of excitement I had about Wild when I realized that once you get to the higher ranks, you're just going to start running into these giant walls. And if you're not running a card that can literally deal with 4/8/8s on turn 5, then you're just not going to win anymore. And that's really sad. So I really hope we see that. But also, they especially highlighted a conversation on another card that's now also Wild only, which is Barnes, which it has been on the chopping block for a nerf for quite some time, because of how oppressive he got when Big Priest entered into the meta in Standard in the last meta before the rotation. But they've actually decided that Barnes is okay now, that he's Wild only. Turns out that he's not quite as OP in Wild, because decks are so much stronger, and that effect is not quite as oppressive as some of the other things that Wild combo decks and aggressive decks can do and overcome. So for everyone who likes Barnes, good news for you. He's sticking around. As is. I
mean, until until Naga Sea Witch gets nerfed, and then the giant decks go away, and then
and then the Barnes comes back.
The Barnes decks are oppressive, and
Yep. So
it's a cycle, vicious cycle.
And then finally, the last card that they specifically highlighted to talk about nerfing is, or changing. Won't even necessarily say that it's definitely going to be a nerf with this card, but it's Baku. Baku the Moon Eater, which is obviously the odd legendary that upgrades your hero power in the same way that Justicar Trueheart, back from the Grand Tournament, upgrades your hero power. So when we're talking about Baku, all we mean is Paladin. Of course, there are no other odd decks that get played. So we're talking specifically about the power of making 2/1/1s, 2/1/1 Silver Hand Recruits, which have more synergy going on right now than they ever have in the past. And it's pretty important that they are what they are. You know, Silver Hand Recruits.
Yes.
Cards like Level Up and such. So what they're looking at is changing how the upgraded hero power actually works. Like, obviously Baku is a neutral minion and it affects all 9 classes in a specific, very, very specific way. So nerfing one type of deck that Baku enables is kind of a tough thing to like think about. But here are the ways that I think they've actually come up with some really interesting potential fixes for this card. They're looking at doing one of 3 different things with it, specifically as it relates to Paladin. It changing what the upgraded Paladin hero power does. They're thinking about either making it summon 1 2/2 Silver Hand Recruit, making it more like the Death Knight upgraded hero power. Even though those aren't Silver Hand Recruits, they're the Horsemen that have that additional win condition. Or they're thinking about making it summon 2/1/1 non-Silver Hand Recruit minions.
Yeah.
So taking away the Silver Hand Recruit synergy. Or, and I think this would be the hardest nerf, making 1 2/2 non-Silver Hand. So basically, I feel like they'll pick one of these 3 options. I think that the easiest nerf to it is a 1 2/2 Silver Hand, and then the 2/1/1 non-Silver Hands is like the second hardest nerf, and then the 1 2/2 non-Silver Hand is the hardest nerf.
I agree, and I think they're only really going to be marginally different because all you're missing is level up. I think that's the only thing that is specifically gonna beef up Silver Hand. Yeah. So you summon these dudes. I mean, that deck won't even run level up at that point.
Right.
And level up isn't even like a good card, but it just works in Odd Paladin because they can
make so many.
Yeah, and you only have access to so many tools because of the odd condition. So that's why level up's in there. So I think they're all marginally, marginal degrees of being nerfed. So
yeah.
I don't know. I want to see some cool flavor. We talked about this when Liadrin came out,
right?
And the hero powers for the alternate heroes are a little bit different in some ways. It's usually just some like visual effect that's like kind of sparkly or something. But we were saying, since we both played Blood Elves, we were both saying since Liadrin's a Blood Elf that she should summon like a Silver Moon recruit,
because Silver Moon is the name of the Blood Elf hometown, so it would make sense, and they would be Blood Elves instead of humans. So,
right?
Hey, this is their opportunity.
Would still count as silver hand recruits,
but now they wouldn't though, because it's specifically enough to take away Silver Hand's synergy. So so I don't know. You could throw in some flavor like that, but I think I would just see them. I don't know, like, okay, the 2/2 Silver Hand Recruit would still just be a Silver Hand Recruit. And then for the 2/1/1s that aren't Silver Hand Recruits, they would have to change, like, what the name, like, what the flavor of that is. Yeah, it would just have to be, like, Foot Soldier or something, like some basic thing,
I hope it's not, like, outrageously lame like that.
Yeah.
I hope it's something cool from the WoW lore. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes they get really, really lazy with those types of nerfs, like with patches. just being like, "Yar!"
Yeah, like, blah,
You know, like he had such a good like that entrance. I know everyone hated Patches after a point, and I know Patches decks were super impressive. But that being fired out of the cannon, I'm in charge now. Like that was so good. Like that just felt good to do. And now it's just like whatever.
Yeah. When I first heard it, what was it that like we had thought it was gonna say? I can never.
I'm on board now.
I'm on board now. That's so much better because it has like specific meaning.
Because you're like, I'm on board of this
now
shit.
I got on board. Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm hoping that if they do go that route where they're not Silverhand recruits, it is something interesting with a new voice acted line that they say when they come out, and maybe a lore reference there. Because, Hearthstone's a fun game and all, but I think a big part of the appeal for me, and probably for a lot of other people, is the flavor of the game,
right? And
the animations and the aesthetics and the way it feels to play certain cards. Right. And it's easy to lose that when you're like, well, we have to nerf this, so we're just gonna make it boring.
Yep. Now. I agree. No, it would be cool if they do decide to go the route where they're not Silverhands anymore, if it is something, that adds a little flavor to the game. But hopefully they don't start... I don't think they would ever start introducing specific synergy with those cards, because that would be defeating the purpose.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it would be cool if they were something fun,
Yeah.
But I think that this kind of needs to happen, but also at the same time, like, they didn't mention, like, changing the Gen effect that it has on Paladin, and I think in Greymane decks, even decks actually are more often played on ladder and actually have a slightly better win rate than Baku decks. So
yeah, even Paladin is actually doing better.
Yeah,
it's almost like maybe they already have the plan for that.
Maybe they do.
I mean, they're like, well, we're not even going to say anything. Because...
Or maybe they anticipate that Gen decks will fall off with the nerfs that they're introducing later and how the meta will shift. So who knows? They're always a couple steps ahead on where they think things are going to go. But also, they brought up that this is going to be an interesting thing to consider alongside Justicar Trueheart, because they just took these upgraded powers directly from the Justicar card. So if they change what Baku does to the Paladin hero power, they're considering changing it to be the same effect then on Justicar, so that Justicar's upgraded Paladin ability will also do the same new thing.
Yeah,
but they're not sure that they're going to do that or not.
I was looking at that today, and how they said that they were going to do that, and I moused over the Justicar Trueheart card, and it actually says. The wording is different from Baku. It says, replace your starting hero power with a better one.
That's true.
Like, it's like...
They're actually worded differently.
It's worded like it's not even a real game. Like, sometimes I just wonder about the way Hearthstone words things and how inconsistent it is, and how you just don't know when certain effects take place. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Which, for comparison, Baku the Moon Eater says if your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. So I don't like, and that's a lot like slicker. So I don't know why they wouldn't change Justicar Trueheart to say Battlecry, upgrade your hero power.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah. So who knows what they'll end up doing, but that is exciting to see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah.
And then they released this list as well of potentially, they call them potentially unfun cards, and I'm going to throw those up here on the side of our display. And these I think are all really good cards to have like a conversation about, and whether or not like you think they're unfun or if they're overreaching with some of these. So we'll just go in order. And I know this one is going to be like the perfect one for you to start talking about, which is your homeboy, Sunkeeper Tarim.
Yeah.
This is potentially an unfun card. What do you say to that?
I mean, this is probably the only one on this list that I really disagree with, because I think Tarim is never just a drop without thinking card,
right.
You know? Spiteful Summoner, you don't have to fucking think. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna reveal a 10-mana spell, and what happened? Our display is... Oh, there we go.
Did some... I switched to... I forgot I can't switch to other tabs.
So let's not keep, Tyrion Fordring, you drop his ass, like, there's never reason not to. Lich King, it's an auto drop. Sunkeeper Tarim, you have to, the board has to be right. Like, it's a very skill-based, timing-based card. And yes, the effect is powerful when it happens in your favor. But that goes for a lot of things. Like, that goes for, board wipes or equality, which is a pretty fucked up card in its own right.
Yeah, equality is still, especially now that they combo it again with the Wild Pyromancer and the Even Paladins. The board wipe potential that they have is so incredible. So
yeah, so I don't agree with Sunkeeper Tarim. I think if you did anything, it would just be like modify his like stats or I don't know, maybe his mana cost, but I think I don't know. I feel like Sunkeeper Tarim has always been right on the money as far as like a fun, good, but not like completely OP card.
Yeah, I guess I could say like one thing that's always tilted me a little bit about Sunkeeper Tarim is the fact that he does have the 7 health, which is just super annoying. And like I could totally get behind a 6 mana 3/6 Tarim so that if they leave up 2 of your minions, you've got the clear. Like I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a little bit more fair because a lot of the times if you have to sack 3 3/3s on this guy, and that's a little bit, that's a little tilting. So
I agree, that might be the one change to do, because even like I'm usually on the delivering end of this, and I throw him down and I'm always like, but they still have like 3 things up, and I'm like, oh wait, they have to hit Sunkeeper with all of them.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. So
I think making him a 3/6 wouldn't be too, it wouldn't break the card. It wouldn't, make the card unplayable. And he would still do what he does and still be a, big old taunt minion. So,
yeah. Well, here's a card that the next one up is a card that combos so well with Sunkeeper, especially the fact that it goes in the Even Paladin. So maybe we're answering our own question here, and they are targeting Even Paladin for nerfs, possibly much more devastating nerfs, because this is one of their bread and butter cards, which is called Arms. Now, I have always been like I'm like excited about cards that thin your deck and like interesting ways to draw cards. So I look at Call to Arms and I think it's like a fun and exciting card, but it's definitely a very difficult card to come back from without like having the card that you need to wipe the board right after it happens. So I can definitely see where they're coming from, saying that this could potentially be unfun. It's unfun to play against. Like, that's generally speaking, that's what we're looking at these cards. They're unfun to have come down on you and literally 1v1 you because that card's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Call to Arms was revealed, I was like, that's not gonna last. Like, that's getting, like, I was like, that's absolutely fucked up. Like, the fact that you can just pull 6 mana worth of minions out of your deck on turn 4, stack your board up, recover from a board clear, knife jugglers are possibly in there, like, like I was like, this is getting nerfed. So I won't even be surprised if Call to Arms gets nerfed, and who knows, maybe it should.
In line with most of the ways that we've seen nerfs occur before, I wouldn't be surprised if this became a 5 or a 6 mana spell, going basically along the same lines as Call of the Wild did for a similar effect.
If they make it 5 mana, it's just going in Odd Paladin.
That's true. So it would have to be 6.
If it's no. Okay, if they made it 5, it's going in on Paladin, and it's only pulling out 1-drops.
That's true. That's interesting.
That fucks it up real bad.
But, I mean, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what do you probably get Argent Squire and Argent whatever, you know, 1/1 taunt Divine Shield.
Man, they've really locked themselves into some difficult design choices with entering these odd and even decks into the game. Like, now it's not just so easy to be like, this spell's a little overpowered, let's just bump it up a mana cost. Like, now you change what decks it can even go in, which has never been a consideration before, so that is an interesting thing to consider.
What if they made it 3 mana and it recruited 2 minions? So
like
you grab
Arcane Intellect. I mean, it's still better than Arcane Intellect because you're paying the mana, you know, like to put it out.
But you're grabbing 2. If it's an odd deck, you're grabbing 2 1/1s or 2 1 costs.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Deck. It's not. There are a lot of things that you could do to this card to change it. Like changing the parameters of the recruit, changing the mana cost, changing how many it recruits. So, I don't know. I do. Do you feel like this one will be one of the cards hit? Because I feel like it.
Yeah, I've always felt like Call to Arms would be nerfed.
Yeah,
I've from day one I've been like, no, that's not gonna last. We're not gonna have this forever.
I agree. So, definitely it will be interesting to see what way they go with it, because there's so many different ways that you can change this card. But the next one, this one I have been bitching about for show after show, basically ever since it actually came out, and that's Spiteful Summoner. I have been saying over and over again that it's just like simplifying deck construction, and the way that it wins you the game is just very frustrating to play against. And it's showing up here in the potentially unfun cards on the chopping block, and I think this is exactly where it belongs. Yeah,
Spiteful Summoner can go fuck itself. Like, make it an 8 mana 5/5 or something. Like, because then it's Shadow and Deathable.
Yeah.
There 6 mana to summon a 4/4 and a 10 mana minion. That's stupid.
That's it, right? Isn't it?
That is stupid.
And the thing is like, now, you know, I'm playing this priest deck that's actually running Shadow or Death, which isn't like a spell that Priest has been running lately, oddly enough. Kind of their old bread and butter cards like Shadow or Death and Pain and stuff have kind of fallen out of use. But I do have it in my version, and it's really good as like something I can grab off of Shadow Visions as like a pinch hitter against what Spiteful Summoner summons, unless they hit Tarantus. And then it's just like, okay, a 12/12 untargetable thing on turn 6, I lose. You know, like that's it.
Yeah, they basically need to figure out the turn where the opponent can reasonably deal with a Tarantus being summoned.
Yeah, a Tarantus being the most, like the highest like roll on a Spiteful Summoner roll. You need to be able to like realistically deal with that. Yeah,
but you can't just have this card like they make these deck restrictions that are attached to incredibly overpowered effects. You know, for Spiteful Summoner, it's not a hard restriction like odd even, but it's like, well, if you want to get the most of this, all your spells are going to cost like 8 or more. And that's not that hard to pull off. And it's not that hard to pull off having a Paladin deck of all even cards or all odd cards. The tools are there. I don't know. Maybe they just need to print more vanilla cards. Just be like, here's your 3 mana 3/4 mech.
Well, the power creep, we've been saying this over and over again, but it bears repeating. The power creep is so incredibly noticeable just within the last year of Hearthstone expansions. Like, the wild meta is marginally different from the standard meta. You're seeing Q blocks and spiteful priests and all the same crap that you're seeing in standard, and so I think that they really should kind of like turn the volume down on the power level of these cards that they're making, because it's definitely becoming noticeable that the power creep has hit a new all-time high recently. So I think Spiteful Summoner is a great example of that.
Yeah, no, nerf this thing hard.
Nerf this thing.
What's next on the chopping block?
A refresher. And by the way, just like you can see right here, this little disclaimer, Dean Ayala has said that not all of these cards will be changed if they decide to change, any of them. So it's not guaranteed that any or, definitely not all of these will be changed. But here we have a little Warlock cluster, which is definitely the most exciting for me, because boy am I sick of this deck. So
it's quite a cluster. These
cards all go together. I think the most offensive one is probably Blood Reaver Gul'dan, because he's the most impactful individual card and will still be good even if the rest of the whole Control Warlock deck gets nerfed. But as a unit, these cards obviously create a monster. Possessed Lackey, Dark Pact, and then of course Blood Reaver. I've said all along that I think even just a small nerf to one of the enabler cards to this deck, like Dark Pact, could really help a lot. Like just making Dark Pact have to hit a demon, or making Possessed Lackey cost more mana so that it's not as much of a mana discount on Void Lords and stuff. There's so many different things you could do in here, like with these different cards. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy balancing act. Doomguard is part of this package too, right? That's one that's
let me bump down. Yep, Doomguard is in here, and also Kobold Librarian. So I mean, almost all the rest of the cards on this list are Warlock. And they all go in the same deck. So
I think Kobold Librarian's the least offensive. I mean, that's just a good aggressive card, I think. And when Possessed Lackey got revealed, we in our Year of the Mammoth roundup, we had to endure our shame. In that we severely underestimated Possessed Lackey.
Absolutely.
Because that card is garbage in a vacuum, and simply the nerf to Dark Pact, making it have to target a demon, might be the one fix, because then it's not added to the resurrect pool for Gul'dan. You can't target Lackey with it. So that changes a lot just with that one simple nerf there.
I mean, Lackey will definitely still be a great card, but the thing about it is, like, so many decks, like every deck now is running some form of silence. Like if you're playing against a priest, they probably have a Mass Dispel. If you're playing against any sort of aggressive deck, unless it's an odd deck, they're probably running Spellbreakers. And if it is an odd deck, they have an Owl, because silence is so important.
Exactly.
So being able to instantly sacrifice something, just like you see with Druids using Naturalize, a really powerful removal spell, on their own minion, because silence is so rampant right now. That's exactly the kind of crap that Dark Pact enables. So leaving Possessed Lackey on a board to get hit by a potential Spellbreaker instead of gaining 8 health and getting your Void Lord immediately, it's like a huge difference. It's a huge difference.
Yeah. So honestly, that would probably be the most impactful fix. With Blood Reaver Gul'dan, I feel like at 10 mana his effect is okay. Maybe just the hero power is what should be nerfed there.
Yeah, you think his hero power is absolutely insane. I mean, the sustain that the deck manages to piece together between Dark Pact and the other lifesteal effects like the Amethyst Spellstone and such, coupled with the hero power, they can survive so much damage. It gets to be a little insane. But I'm actually wondering, what if they just put a cap on the number of demons that can come back? Like, what if this says summon up to 5 friendly demons that died this game, Like, cut one off, on each side. And I actually think that would be my preference, because I always get so tilted that they get so many of their good demons back. Because I'm like, okay, I've killed like 6 Void Walkers this game because I've chewed through 2 different Void Lords, and 6 Void Walkers are now a part of your resurrect pool for Blood Reaver. And I'm like, how amazing would it be if 6 of your summons were all those Void Walkers? But it never happens. They always get both Void Lords and like both Doom Guards. But if you actually restricted how many actually came back, shuffling those Void Walkers into the resurrect pool would be more devastating to the card, because you'd have such a higher chance of getting them back, like getting only them back.
Definitely. I think all of these cards have been on our salty card list.
Yeah, they have
at one point or another.
Doomguard, honestly, I don't think the problem is with Doomguard. I don't think Doomguard is the card that needs to be changed here. It's all this stuff that makes Doomguard so abusable is what needs to be looked at.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I don't know. It like I said, it's going to be a really fine balancing act.
It is. It is.
To figure out exactly, like, what they need. Yeah, and I feel like the Dark Pact nerf is the most impactful,
like the least restrictive, but also the most effective way. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of change either, to the hero power or to the battle cry on Blood Reaver Gul'dan. I think nerfing Possessed Lackey, but pretty much all you're looking at is a mana increase, like maybe to 6 mana. Could be a decent change, but I agree with you on Kobold Librarian. I mean, they just printed a card that's arguably better than this card in Warrior, the one that draws a rush minion from your deck.
Right.
Also, this, I think, unnecessarily hurts Zoo Warlocks when they're already not in a good place, but they really benefit from a card like this. I think that Kobold should be left alone, but somewhere between these first 3 cards is where all the nerfs need to hit.
Yeah, I think Librarian needs to stay the way it is for aggro Warlocks, because I see that card and I immediately think, oh, you're sacrificing your own health to, put more resources in your hand. It's a 1-drop. That just screams aggro to me. So even though he helps Q block, that doesn't mean that he's the problem,
Yeah, exactly. And then the final one to talk about is interesting because it's kind of been up and down on ladder ever since the new set came out, which is the Caverns Below. The Rogue quest, obviously we all know what it does, and it used to be a lot better when it said play 4 minions with the same name, but now they're actually looking to potentially nerf this card again. It's so funny to me that they have such a problem with this card, because if they do, they should never have made it in the first place.
Right.
Because all this card has ever done is exactly what it was designed to do, and kick the shit out of slow decks.
Yeah.
If you give the quest rogue enough time to do this, their win rate is almost like the value generated and just like the onboard potential that they have with all those 5/5s and the haste and the creating more minions. I said haste the charge and the shadow stepping, and it's ridiculous. So I think it's so funny that they have such a problem with this card.
Yeah, it is. Like, we nerfed it. Do we need to nerf it again? I think that Caverns Below is in a place where it's not you're not running into these decks all the time, and their win rate is not outrageous, and it's just a strong card at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think that Caverns Below, maybe nerf preparation or something. Maybe make prep take 2 mana off your next spell or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those enabler cards that you can look at as like a way to get around like going to the root of the problem. But I definitely, I kind of have a problem with this card, and I come from the perspective of why was this card ever made? because it is sitting there as this permanent check on decks that want to just outlast you. I had the biggest problem when I was trying to ladder with the Control Mage, which has lately been one of my favorite things to mess around with, because I really like Frostlich Jaina and, like, you know, that whole deck. If you queue up against a Caverns Below rogue, like, you might as well just concede and save yourself some time.
Yeah.
Because you just cannot, you can't pack enough board wipes in your deck to ever possibly deal with what this deck does to you. And you'll never kill them fast enough to prevent them from doing it. So it has this like inevitability thing to it, where if you, it's one of the worst matchups to queue into when you're trying to do a control thing, like a slow control archetype. So it's just kind of weird,
because it's so all or nothing. It's it's like, you know, you kill them before they can do it, because you know, without Caverns Below, it's just a fucking weak joke of a deck.
Yep.
And but if they get it, then everything's a 5/5, and like you can't even silence them. Like they stay 5/5.
You can't even polymorph them.
Could they stay 5/5?
They'll have a 5/5 sheep.
And that's just this is a little tangent here, but like that is clearly showing us that Hearthstone is capable of like acknowledging these statewide effects. These effects that are just active across the board. Like, no matter what happens to your opponent's minions when they have the Caverns Below, they're always 5/5s. So why then do Naga Sea Witch discounts you know, actually like get reduced past 5?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Like the first time that I ever polymorphed a minion that was out during Caverns Below, I was so shocked. I was just like, it like made sense afterwards, but I was like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm gonna make an elemental. I'm just like polymorph, and I'm like, it's a 5/5. Oh my god! Like I think
there needs to be, because when you mouse over a card and you see the enchantments on a card, there needs to be a differentiation between things that are just like buffs on the card, and then things that are like state-based effects where it's like always present on the card, you know?
Right. Yeah. They could even have something where, like, you know, Caverns Below stays as some sort of effect, like around the hero's portrait or something, and just like emanates like a magical, like, sort of glow, you know, outwards to like let you know that it's coming from an independent source, not from the minion itself or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I don't know. Do you think that Caverns Below should be like, basically, if they nerf Caverns Below again, which it's funny that they're even considering it, it's to be because they don't want it to see play anymore. Like, I really feel like that's where it's going. So, like, do you feel like this should be a card that is just like pushed out, or not?
I don't think it's. It's so hard to say,
right?
Because it wasn't an obvious game breaker. Like, you know, when we first saw it, you thought it was going to be garbage, and I only gave it the time of day because it was in Rogue, and I was like, they'll figure out some way.
And you pretty much like named half the deck when you were at it.
Yeah. So, you know, maybe the effect that it generates is just not a fun effect to play against. Like, maybe that's what it is at the end of the day. They need to just rework the quest, you know, give it the War Song Commander treatment, but maybe not like, you know, nerf it into the ground. You know, maybe it could be when you play a minion, give it +4/+4 or something, or, you know, +3/+3 or something,
right?
Instead of it being this state-based effect where it just happens and it can't be silenced. But it, on that same token, if you run a higher cost minion in that deck, if it's like, you know, when Caverns Below activates, or Crystal Core, when you get Crystal Core, your minions don't just have a static, like they are 5/5s, they all get Battle Cry gain +3/+3. And then if you actually run some higher attack and health minions, they will be buffed beyond 5/5. So
that's true.
That could be an interesting fix.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. They could even just not make it do anything like this anymore, right?
Yeah, they could completely change it. Yeah. I don't see what's even roguish about this effect, aside from the fact that only Rogue can pull off this bullshit.
Right. So it's like giving you a benefit for bouncing, right? Which is like, you know, they looked at everything that's special to Rogue and they were like, oh, Rogues bounce. Like, let's give them a reward for bouncing. And
like, it could have been like, if you play 6 combo cards, do something, you know? So
all your combos are permanently activated for the rest of the game.
Really, you always have play 5 combo cards. Your combo cards now are always combo-y.
Yeah, it could even be less than that, you know, like 3 or 4 combo cards or something. But
sure, yeah.
There's so much that you can do. I mean, honestly, I think deep down that they really will try to keep, like, the flavor of this card, if it even does get a nerf. Like, once again, this is not confirmed at all. I found it kind of shocking and just kind of funny that it's even on here. But if they decide to keep the spirit of the card, they'll really have to change how it functions, or else I think they're just looking to give it exactly the Warsong Commander treatment, which is like, just make it to the point where no one's even going to try to play it anymore. Which I'm not sure if that's their end game goal, like they just want it kind of gone, but we'll see.
I don't think Caverns Below is so insanely oppressive that it's like a prime candidate for nerf, but if Paladin falls off, it might be the next thing. So
it could be like, you know, if the meta ever starts to move towards a slower, you know, we always say, okay, control meta is finally coming because they're giving us control cards now. You know, it's never gonna happen with a card like Caverns Below there to check it.
Yeah.
You know? Or I mean, if it does, at least there'll always be that there to counter it, and the win rates just get so abysmal. The slower your deck is against Caverns Below.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Very interesting. I agree with basically all of these cards. I can see why they're all on here. Do you want to try to make like let's both try to pick 2 that we definitely think are gonna actually get nerfed out of here?
Call to Arms and Spiteful.
Okay, Call to Arms and Spiteful. I definitely think that those will, but I want to try to pick other stuff. I'm gonna say Blood Reaver Gul'dan, and I gotta say Spiteful Summoner. I really think Spiteful needs to see it.
Yeah, Spiteful.
I think I'm just saying that because I really want it, but
well, I think there's a reason that we both want it. Like, it is nonsense. So
yeah, this card's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
nobody
dumb.
likes losing because you coined out a Spiteful on 5 and got a Tarantus. Like, that's just not fun. It's, you know, it's like the same problem that Naga Sea Witch is causing in Wild. You know, it's just like huge stats before you're supposed to be able to have them is like one of the cheesiest ways to feel like you lost the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I thought that those were all very good, promising things to look forward to for nerfs at the end of May.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, Rita. So that basically brings us up to our card creation challenge segment. That's pretty much all the news that we had. So I will give just a quick rundown of what this actually is. We, every show, give you guys a prompt to create a Hearthstone card. It could be something really specific, like, you know, make a card that's a certain amount of mana or certain stats, or something really silly, like the one I posed last time, which was take your favorite meme from 2018 and make it into a card.
Yep.
Just something fun to do. But we actually, lately, we've seen, like, kind of a little bit of a downturn in participation in the card creation challenge in general, so we didn't actually get we always pick 6 of those cards to talk about on the show, and if we have time to play afterwards, we do viewer games with priority to the people who submitted and got picked for the show. But we haven't really been getting that many lately, so we're kind of trying to figure out why we're losing some participation in this area. So if you guys have any feedback or anything on the show in general or the card creation challenge, we definitely want to hear that on our Twitter and you know, or email, or just any way you want to try to contact us. But,
yeah. Feedback is always very appreciated.
Absolutely. So without further ado, though, let's take a look at the memes that we did get for this week's card challenge.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
So first up, we just picked everything that we got this time. So this is two different submissions, both from the same person, Rensand. We have a Noyo Boy, which I actually haven't seen this particular one as a meme. It's a 4-mana 2/7 Taunt Divine Shield that gains Divine Shield at the end of every one of your turns, which is obviously like insane. And that would be super annoying. I do like the fact that it has the trumpet, and it reminds me of Annoyatron.
Yeah. Rensand's first submission was Yodel Kid, and that one's funny and all, but then I tweeted like, hey, we don't have a lot of submissions, could you guys, you know, get some submissions in, please? And then they posted an Oyo Boy, and I was like, well, this is even better, because it fits in so well, like with the Annoyatron and the Psychotron. And he's got the trumpet, and that whole meme is about like this trumpet kid like annoying that usually it's that girl with her hands over her ears, but and then it's like the same mechanics, taunt, divine shield, but then it gains divine shield at the end. It makes so much sense. Very, very well played memery there.
Absolutely.
It's a good one.
I like it. And then Yodel Kid, which is also, like, this would be the most OP card ever, but I do love this meme. It's 4-mana 3/5, battle cries to seduce one of your opponent's minions with your soothing voice and gain control of it for the turn. So, you know, if it works like Shadow Madness, where it would actually get charged, and you could just, like, steal your opponent's, you know, 8/8 Molten Giant.
Whatever you want.
Mountain Giant.
Lich King.
Yeah. That would be pretty insane.
Yeah. So, good memes, Rensand.
Very good memes.
Rensand, right?
Yes, these were both Rensand. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Up next
great.
from I'm a Dragon. This is one of my favorite memes, the Scroll of Truth. I fucking love this meme. 4-mana priest spell to look at your opponent's hand, choose a card from it, and shuffle it back into their deck. It's a fun effect and just like a great meme. So,
so I'm gonna admit something here. I don't know this meme.
Oh, do you remember the SpongeBob meme that was like him holding out a scroll, and it's like, and you know, he would like turn it around, and it would be like, it's like, hey, do you want to like, oh my, it's hard to explain. I have to like find one. One of the scrolls of truth that I've seen before, it was like, it's like, oh, I finally found it, and then he reads it, and it says like, some of your problems are your own fault, and then he like rips it up. Yeah, like the scroll of truth like tells you a truth that you don't want to hear.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's kind
like
of similar to the old SpongeBob meme with the parchment that he has. He like reads it and then like shows it to you.
Is it like the facts meme where it's like the book is, or the book is like fact. That one is Ed and Eddie. And
yes.
He's holding the book that says facts.
He points it. Yes, it's like that.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Or the other one is the hard pills to swallow one.
Yes. These are all related. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it as the Scroll of Truth.
Yeah, no, I have not seen Scroll of Truth. I consider myself a dank tier meme lord, and yeah. All right. Up next from Alekman, we have. I'm not sure that any of these. Wait, is Curb a meme? Because I haven't seen Curb. I don't know about this one.
I don't know about this one either, but
he posted in the tweet, he posted a link to the video, which I have not yet watched.
Oh, okay. I did not have a chance to watch that.
But hopefully some of our audience knows what these memes are.
So you have Curb, which kind of reminds me of like Doland and Gooby. It's just like a really bad, like you know, plushie you're drawing or whatever of Kirby.
Yeah.
It's a 5-mana 5/6 that battle cries to add Blastoise Jam and Singing Salamander to your hand. So Blastoise Jam is a legendary spell that's like an aura. For the rest of the game, your minions have an inspire, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, which is pretty
good.
Awesome, actually. I like that. And then Singing Salamander is a 7-mana 4/4 beast with stealth, battlecry, and summon a battlecry, summon a copy of this minion, and inspire to gain poisonous this turn. So you could get 2 4/4 stealths that you can inspire to both give them both poisonous. So, oh, and you know what? With Blastoise Jam out, they also deal a damage to a random enemy and kill it. So, we've got quite a winning combo here.
Oh yeah, lots of synergy.
Synergies. You know how the Pokemon, how Blastoise, a Pokemon, synergizes with Kirby and just a real salamander.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually an axolotl, but I mean,
is that what that thing is? I have no idea. I've never seen one.
Yeah,
before.
that's an axolotl. Yeah.
Well, I've never even heard that name before. Do they actually sing?
Oh no.
Okay,
but they are very singing. They are very cute.
I thought he might make like a sing-songy little like high-pitched voice sound or something. Yeah. All right, up next from Legendary Zephyr, who I think is a first-time submitter, so welcome. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have no idea what this is from. I've never seen these characters before in any sort of meme or game before. Kidding.
This is a joke.
You have Dad of Boy, Dad of Boy, 5-mana 4/5, Battlecry, Summon Boy, and it has Enrage +6. And then you have...
Wait. What's Enrage?
Oh, I'm sorry. This has +6... this should be reworded by official Blizzard standards in operating procedures to say +6 attack when damaged.
Yeah. Wild. sorry. No. It's actually wild damaged.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm sorry. You're right.
Because I searched for when damaged recently, and I was like, nothing's coming up. And then I looked at Amani Berserk or whatever, and I was like, oh, it's wild damage.
Wild. Yeah, it's so much cleaner when you have to put more words on the card to convey the same meaning.
Absolutely, yeah.
I like it.
Abilities.
And then you have Boy, which is a 1-mana 2/2. While Dad of Boy is on the field, Boy is invulnerable and has stealth. So that's pretty damn good. These are some good cards.
Yeah,
here.
he's 1 more mana than a Yeti, and he pops out a 2/2. And if you damage him without killing him, he's gonna fucking
destroy you.
Yeah, he's gonna raw dog you.
But hey, an invulnerable 2/2 stealth is quite good. So
absolutely. So yeah, good card, and it's actually fairly well balanced, even though it's probably a little OP, but
maybe slightly, but not so much. Like not as much as some of the other cards. And I like the flavor. I like the how it captured the flavor of the source memery.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, no, that one's a good one.
And we had to get a Tide Pod in here. I'm very glad that we got a Tide Pod. I was going to be a little upset if we didn't. But Animanga Fan came in and saved us all with Candy, which is a 1-mana Warlock spell. Give a friendly minion Rush and Poisonous, and then kill the minion at the end of the turn.
So you got some nice cheap removal there.
Yeah.
Just throw it on your Kobold Librarian and kill something. Imagine
putting this on Voodoo Doll.
Oh! This is you could even put this on Possess Lackey.
Oh my gosh, that's even worse than Dark Pact. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, that's the thing. You look at this and you think like, oh, well, that seems pretty balanced.
And then you think about all the ways that you can abuse it, and that's what you always have to be thinking about.
Yep. But still, definitely I like the flavor of it. The flavor of it being laundry detergent.
You mean candy?
Yeah. Oh, candy? Yeah. So there's that.
I'm super glad we got the Tide Pod. Thanks, Animanga Fan. And then up last, we would not have had 6 submitters this time, but Tyler Slime came in the end, and even though he doesn't play the game at all or know anything about it, he was a good sport and sent us a card anyway. And it's himself, and he's a 0-mana 0/0 with the text "I don't know jack shit about this game" and some symbols.
Looking goth AF.
Goth AF.
I might add. So we appreciate the enthusiasm.
We do. We were all but begging for submissions, and we got it. And we were like, you know what? We appreciate that. And then last up, we always also contribute to our own challenge here. So up first is Dookie's submission. Which I had not had the pleasure of seeing. You had to kind of explain this meme to me. So
yeah, so my favorite meme right now, because I'm a huge Simpsons fan, and I must add that I am so happy that Simpsons memes are becoming a thing. Like the whole steamed hams thing was amazing for me. So anyway, this is the Bart hits Homer with a chair meme, and Bart is the main card. Bart is a 1-mana 2/3, but he has Battle Cry to summon a 4/4 Homer for your opponent and add the chair to your hand. So your opponent gets a 4/4 Homer that is 4-mana 4/4 that has taunt and can't attack. And then you get the chair in your hand, which is a 0-mana deal 2 damage to a minion. So you can kind of safely play this on turn 1 because the Homer is not going to kill your Bart, and then you just wait until you have a way to deal 2 more damage to Homer and get him out of the way, and then you have some good tempo with a 1-mana 2/3 there. I don't know if this is any good at all, but
it kind of strikes me as not very good.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how to balance it.
I think Homer should be a 2/4 so that Bart could attack him with the chair and kill him.
Bart can live. Yeah. Maybe Homer should be a 2/4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. Print it.
But I like you definitely captured the essence of the meme in there.
What was great is that the picture for the chair is a shot from the show where Lisa's in a museum and she's seeing like some painting and has like some, something negative to say about it because that's what Lisa does. And but the person photoshopped in a picture of the chair, and the caption is the chair from a good meme this century.
That is a good meme. That's like a breaking the whatever wall. What is it, the 5th wall?
The 4th.
The 4th wall. The 4th wall meme. I want to go to another wall. We need more walls.
All rooms are now pentagons.
All right. And lastly, I always get kind of a kick out of the Evil Patrick memes because it's always just like don't do the. It's almost like the evil Kermit memes. Almost, it's like do the worst possible thing you can think of, and he just looks so diabolical. So yeah, I came up with him as a legendary neutral minion, 3-mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. Your next random effect allows you to choose targets instead, and to me that just like is such an evil thing. It's like here it comes.
Yeah.
So
when you play Rag and you can target the Rag shot.
Yeah, and it would just be like a brand new mechanic for the game. It's just like you hit the end turn button and all of a sudden you'd have an arrow just attached to your mouse from Ragnaros or whatever it is. If you play a Tortollan Primalist and you discover it doesn't cast with random targets, like you pick the Pyroblast and you get to point it right at their face. So
hell yeah.
And it also doesn't say this turn, so you can combo it with things that that you can't play the same turn.
Just your next one.
Very diabolical.
I like it.
So
now, is a starfish a beast?
Well, that's a good question, but I did not make him a beast, but maybe he would be.
Just for a little extra random synergy?
Yeah, so you play him a hunter. That's the key to
staple
using the
card there.
But anyway, that does it for our show today. We do have one last kind of announcement to make here at the end. Do you wanna take this one away?
Sure. So we're canceling the show. No more Salty Dog podcast. We hate ourselves and we hate you. So that's
been
not
real.
the announcement. Yep. All right. Fucking the ship is sinking.
Oh my god.
No, But we are going to take the rest of this month off from the show, which maybe to some dismay for you guys, but we both have a lot of crazy crap going on in our lives right now. I'm getting back into that YouTube grind, and there's a lot of other random projects happening, and the extra time would just really benefit me a lot.
Yeah, same for me.
Same goes for Phil.
Yeah, I mentioned a few times about how I'm making a big move right now to a new town, and I'm trying to find a new job in that town because I've tried the drive a couple times, and it's awful, and I hate it. I'm trying to, like, it's like 20 miles, right, where I need to get to work from my new place, and I was in the car for an hour and 15 minutes.
Let me tell you about Los Angeles.
But the thing is like there's only two ways to get there. It's this bridge or this bridge. Okay? And they both just, there's like a wreck every day on both of them. And I hate it, and we both just need to focus on some personal things right now.
I used to live there. I remember the bridge. Oof.
But also, I kind of mentioned it before when we were saying how things are a little, like, have taken a little bit of a downturn on our submissions and stuff, and I've actually seen some people talking about it in chat. I have seen everything you guys are saying in chat tonight, but, we usually don't respond to chat stuff just during the show. But we've seen just kind of, like, less people showing up for, participatory stuff like the card challenge and everything. So we're definitely, over the next couple weeks, we're kind of taking things back to the drawing board a little bit, and we're really looking for some feedback from you guys. If you have, any just insight into anything about the show or things that maybe we should incorporate in, we would really appreciate that as we kind of look to move forward.
Definitely. Keep an eye on Twitter. If you don't follow us on Twitter, it's at Salty Dog Podcast. That's the best way to submit your card creation submissions to us. But also, just for feedback in general, and when we ask you guys questions for feedback, which is something that we're going to be doing for the rest of this month, just kind of feeling things out, seeing how we can kind of revamp the show. So keep an eye there. That is at Salty Dog Podcast on Twitter once again. And also if you want to tweet just either one of us instead of the show for whatever reason, he's at Dookie Shed and I'm at Clash, spelled KLASHE and then _HS. So I'm not 100% sure on whether or not either of us are still planning on doing our normal gameplay streams on Tuesday, but I'm going to lean a little bit towards no, but we'll definitely tweet about that, like, that day, like, on Tuesday, and let you know if we're going to come out for that. But I wouldn't expect at least both weeks. We'll probably take at least one of them off, but we appreciate your patience in the meantime, and we'll look forward to a fresh new month with you guys starting in June. Hopefully I'll be moved by then, and I will be a lot less stressed out. Yep. It's man, it's just a lot of stuff going on for both of us right now. Which actually, I guess we can get into that once I announce the new card creation challenge, which you guys will have a month to toy with. And that's why this challenge is going to be very broad. This card creation challenge is literally just design anything you want for Hearthstone. Any card, minion, spell, hero. You can design a new character. You can make a class, whatever you want to do. You have like 20 days to figure it out.
Yeah, if you've had, like, a great idea for a card you've been keeping in your back pocket, but just hasn't been the right, like, prompt to use it or whatever, definitely. Try not to bombard us with, like, 8 cards like normal, just enough to try to fit on a slide and everything, but,
our normal rule is your main card can spawn up to 2 cards, so you can't give us more than 3 cards.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, so make whatever you want. Like if you've had an idea for, oh man, this would be such a cool Hearthstone card, but it has never fit one of our prompts, just go for it. It doesn't matter. You could do a meme again. You could do a weapon again. You could make a monster hunt hero. You can do whatever you want. So that's the prompt. You have 20 days.
20 days. Make it good.
You have, yes.
Yeah, 3 cards and a hero power, sure, that's fine.
Yes, 3 cards and a hero power is fine.
Just like that was exactly what we had said for your last challenge 2 weeks ago when we did the one for the monster hunt. So, yeah, take your time with this, guys. Keep an eye out on our Twitter and stuff. I know I'm really bad at Twitter, and I'm going to be trying to make a concerted effort to be on there more often. So, we will look forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks.
That's right. So, like we mentioned before, if you want to follow our podcast Twitter, it's at Salty Dog Podcast. And I'm at Dookie Shed. He's at Clash_HS. I stream every now and then, but now that I'm back on the YouTube grind, I'm streaming less. But I am going to stream tonight. So if you're here in chat, keep an eye out for that. That's twitch.tv/DookieShed. And of course, if you're watching this live, twitch.tv/Clash_HS is where we do the show and where Clash streams if he ever streams solo.
Correct. Correct.
I do have a cool announcement. I'll be in a new D&D show on Twitch. It's literally going to be twitch.tv/DND, and that's going to be every Monday at 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I should know this, but it's a new
Pacific
show,
time, right? It's
Pacific
so
time.
that would be in my time 9 or 10.
Yes,
right.
But it's a new show called Dark and Dicey. It's going to be me, Nate Wants to Battle, Christina V, Zach Callison, Anna Brisbane, and our DM KG Tang, and it's actually an evil campaign. I'm playing an Oathbreaker Paladin, so it's going to be a real dicey time.
Sounds good. I will definitely tune in for some of that. I want to see what you guys are up to.
Yeah,
Sounds
man.
Like a good time.
And just make sure you give us good ratings wherever you listen. The obligatory give us 5 apples if you listen on iTunes. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, whatever it is, wherever you listen.
5 big apples up.
If you're in New York, 5 big apples up.
All right, we're gonna end the show at that. All right, guys. So for a few weeks until our next show, stay salty.
Stay salty.